The United States Department of Agriculture releases information when it comes to export inspections. This is actually what was being inspected to be shipped out of the United States. And so that report was out this morning. Here's the latest numbers. It's got corn coming in at 795,241 metric ton. That was under last week. Sorghum, green sorghum, milo, 25,064 compared to last week's 64,110. Soybeans, 841,888 compared to last week's 887,760. And the wheat, 353,727 compared to last week's 611,955. So all of these numbers lower than last week's numbers. That soybean number probably is the soybean and the corn number probably the closest, but still under what we did last week. As far as the futures are concerned today, they are all lower with the exception of the Minneapolis wheat market. That could be a part of the what's going on with the flooding. Let's go to the corn market here first. May down 1 3/4. The new crop December down 1 1/4 at 394 3/4. May soybeans are down 3 1/2. New crop November down 3 1/2 at 939. Over in the wheat market, July Chicago wheat down 3. The Kansas City July wheat contract down 4 1/2, but the Minneapolis July contract is up 4 1/2 at 562. Cotton market here today for December, that's the new crop. It's down 17 at 74.35. And at the edge of the trading floor is Scott Gecas. He is in Chicago at the CME Group, and he's with Walsh Trading, and he joins us here to talk about all of this. So far today, a little bit of a sell-off over here in the grains with that Minneapolis wheat we mentioned going the opposite direction. What's behind all of that?
Yeah, a lot of things are going into the factor. There was no positive news over the trade war talks over the weekend. This weather is definitely coming into to a factor. The farmers right now, they can't catch a break between the trade war talks. Now we're going into massive flooding, severe weather conditions. It's definitely not helping anything. That's why with the export numbers coming out today, you're seeing a little bit of a pullback as well, not really supportive of price. So moving forward, we need positive headlines for something to turn around. Any positive headlines is going to cause a massive short covering. Pretty much all the funds, all the traders are short. Some are adding to positions, some are taking a little bit positions off, but overall the traders are net short. So any positive news is going to cause a very big spike in volume as well as volatility to the upside. That is confirmed by the put-call ratio going to the upside, and the call skews are a little bit more expensive than the downside puts.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned that because I was going to ask you about that. Does this mean that we're close to the bottom of this grain market maybe?
Well, usually when you're seeing all this downside pressure with extended short positions, that does typically say that a bottom is coming. Whether or not that happens, I don't know. We're going to see how this is going to play out. But as far as the option flow goes, I mean, the calls to the upside are at a very high premium. You know, anywhere between $1 over to $2 to $3 over in some markets, depending on which markets you're looking at.
All right, Scott, stay with us. We're going to come back from this break, and I want to ask you some questions about that livestock market. We're going to do that next, so stay with us here on the Market Day Report. Well, we like to share pictures with you, and I want to describe this for our radio listeners. This is kind of more on the positive side here from that storm in Nebraska and Colorado. This is an Instagram picture. It's a picture of a lot of cattle. They're all walking down the wheel tracks of the tractor, and it says, leading our heifers back to safety, fed and protected after they had drifted several miles in the storm. Our heifers are aching as we continue to read updates. Our hearts, are continue to ache as we continue to hear updates of some that have lost. So thank you very much. Remember that the Farm Bureau is a part of the Disaster Relief Fund, and you can sure find out more about that online. So Nebraska strong. Hang in there. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. Okay, let's talk about the cattle market over here and see where it's headed today. Earlier in the day, it was a mixed reaction here on both the live cattle and the feeder cattle markets. Live cattle market right now, it's still mixed, and that's because April's down 67, but June up 42, August up 20. The rest of those contracts all barely on the higher side. March feeder cattle up 8, but April down 43, May down 15, the August up 15. And in the hog market, Remember, this was the hog market that closed limit higher on Friday. Today, we got April hogs up $1.53 at 70.33, May up 70, but June and July are lower. But there's a lot of news surrounding this hog and this pork complex. For that news, let's go to the edge of the trading floor. And Wall Street Trading's Scott Gecas is here with us. What are you hearing about this this shipment of Chinese pork that was headed for the United States?
Yeah, over the weekend, there was a couple cargoes that were stopped, halted, just due to coming in from China. Everyone's worried about the African swine fever. It's hit every province in China. It's starting to spread a little bit here and there through Europe. Now, with them shipping their Chinese pork to U.S., throws up a lot of red flags. So if there is a case of the African swine fever, we do not want it to spread to the U.S. Doesn't make sense why we would import pork from China when we have an abundance of U.S. pork here. So all kinds of conspiracy rumors, which are just rumors, to be clear, going back and forth. But, you know, when all this African swine fever started, the rumors were that if it affected 10% of Chinese herd, then it would equate to all of the U.S. pork that was exported all of last year. Now they're running into 15%, 20%, maybe even a little bit over 20%. So with those numbers being said, we expect a big import campaign. We're just waiting for that import campaign to start from China.
Is the trade worried about African swine fever reaching the United States, Scott?
I think it would be silly to say no, just because the way it's spread and the way it's not contained and it's spreading all over the place, then no. Okay. I would say that, yeah.
All right, Scott, always good to visit with you. Thank you very much. Scott Gecas, Wall Street Trading, and he reports there from the edge of the trading floor in Chicago, where we're all back underway.